Every morning before you step outside your door, you put on a costume. You adjust your smile, refine your posture, and select the specific vocabulary required by the world around you. You pretend to be the perfect professional, the loving partner, the responsible citizen, or the fearless leader. You convince the world that this polished, functional version of you is who you truly are. But when the night falls, and you are left completely alone in the absolute silence of your room, you look into the mirror, and a cold, terrifying question echoes from the dark. Who is the entity staring back at you once the mask is stripped away? Carl Gustav Jung called this social mask the persona. Taken from the ancient Latin word for the masks worn by theater actors, the persona is the psychological clothing your ego wears to survive in human society. It is a necessary shield. Without a persona, you would be raw, exposed, and entirely vulnerable, unable to function in a world governed by strict rules, expectations, and judgments. The persona allows you to protect your fragile inner world from the harsh gaze of the public. But here lies the silent, catastrophic tragedy of the modern human condition. You have worn the mask for so long, you have played the character so perfectly that you have forgotten you are an actor. You have committed the ultimate psychological sin. You have identified completely with your persona. When you believe that you are the title on your business card, when you believe that you are the flawless reputation you present to society, you bury your true self alive. The consequences of this complete identification are devastating. When a person becomes entirely consumed by their persona, they develop what Jungian psychology calls a fragmented psyche. The parts of your soul that do not fit the clean image of your mask do not simply vanish. Your raw passions, your chaotic creativity, your terrifying vulnerabilities, and your darker desires are violently repressed. They are driven deep into the shadows of the unconscious. The more perfect, rigid, and flawless your external mask becomes, the darker, more volatile, and more dangerous your inner shadow grows. You transform into a walking time bomb, a polite, fragile fake, desperately holding on to a crumbling illusion of control, while your repressed nature screams for release from the subterranean prison of your mind. But the labyrinth of the subconscious mind runs even deeper. If the persona is the mask you wear to face the outer world, what is the force that directs you when you turn inward? Deep within the heavy mystical layers of the collective unconscious, Carl Jung discovered a profound hidden architecture that governs our deepest longings, our destructive infatuations, and our painful search for psychological wholeness. He called this the theory of the syzygy, the divine inner twins, the Anima and the Animus. Jung realized that the human psyche is inherently bisexual. No matter what your biological sex may be, your subconscious mind contains its psychological opposite. Inside the unconscious of every man lives the anima, the internal feminine archetype. Inside the unconscious of every woman lives the animus, the internal masculine archetype. These are not biological traits. They are ancient primal blueprints inherited from thousands of generations of human ancestors. They represent the ultimate collective experience of the opposite sex. The anima in a man represents his capacity for emotional depth, intuition, psychological sensitivity, and connection to the sacred mysteries of life. The animus in a woman represents her capacity for penetrating logic, analytical power, unshakable convictions, and fierce, focused action in the material world. When these inner twins are understood, balanced, and consciously integrated, they become the ultimate bridge to the divine. They unlock an unshakable inner power, turning a human being into a creative genius, deeply connected to both the rational and irrational forces of existence. But we do not live in a world of balance. We live in a world of profound psychological blindness. Because modern society forces us to repress our true nature to maintain our social persona, the anima and animus are almost always exiled into the darkest corners of the unconscious. And any archetype that is repressed into the dark will inevitably turn toxic, mutating into a hostile, destructive force that will ruin your life from within. When a man completely represses his anima, when he wears a hyper-masculine, aggressive persona to prove his strength to the world, his inner feminine archetype turns malevolent. The toxic anima attacks his mind from the shadows. She manifests as sudden, inexplicable bouts of deep depression, irrational mood swings, and a suffocating emotional coldness that destroys his ability to love. He becomes vulnerable to dangerous, addictive infatuations. When he meets a woman in the outer world who matches his repressed, unconscious anima, he instantly projects his entire soul onto her. He falls into a mad, obsessive state of psychological blindness, worshipping a projection of his own mind, only to become violent and resentful when the real human woman fails to live up to the divine goddess he imagined. Conversely, when a woman represses her animus, when she adopts a passive, helpless persona to conform to societal expectations, her inner masculine archetype turns into a destructive tyrant. The toxic animus manifests inside her head as a cold, cruel, and highly critical internal voice. This inner voice tortures her with relentless self-doubt, whispering that she is incompetent, weak, and worthless. When the shadow animus takes over her personality, she becomes possessed by a rigid, aggressive, and highly argumentative dogmatism. She no longer thinks logically. Instead, she is consumed by unexamined, immovable opinions that she uses to tear down everyone around her, destroying her relationships and freezing her creative potential in a prison of intellectual bitterness. Look back at the history of your failed relationships. Look at the patterns of your most painful heartbreaks. You thought you were falling in love with a real person, but in reality, you were blindfolded. You were projecting your own unexamined anima or animus onto a human canvas. You were trapped in a hall of mirrors, desperately chasing your own hidden soul in the eyes of a stranger. And when the projection inevitably shattered against the hard rock of reality, your world collapsed, not because you lost them, but because you were forced to face the immense, terrifying emptiness within yourself. This is the ultimate crucible of Jungian psychology. To break free from this painful, repeating cycle of self-sabotage, you must embark on the perilous path of individuation. You must have the fierce, unflinching courage to dissolve your rigid social persona. You must stop lying to the world, and more importantly, you must stop lying to yourself. You must look past the mask, walk directly into the darkness of your subconscious, and confront the hidden twin within. You must listen to the toxic internal voices, decode the symbols in your dreams, and consciously integrate the hidden masculine or feminine energy that your ego has starved you of for years. When a man integrates his anima, he gains supreme emotional mastery and creative vision. When a woman integrates her animus, she gains unshakable logic and the fierce independence to conquer her destiny. They cease to be helpless fragments searching for a missing half in the external world. They become whole, autonomous, and psychologically invincible. The stage of your life is set, and the audience is watching. You can continue to play the polite, hollow role dictated by your persona, blindly serving the invisible archetypes that pull your strings from the dark. Or you can summon the courage to tear down the curtains, unmask the actors, and finally claim total sovereignty over your own soul. The choice is yours. But remember, the mask you wear today is slowly becoming your permanent skin. Thank you for watching Shadow and Ego. If you possess the rare courage to descend further into the deep, dangerous landscapes of the human unconscious mind, subscribe to our channel right now. Leave a comment below with your honest thoughts on the masks you wear and the shadows you carry. We will see you in the next depth.